That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Commissioner Cooper, and I have to say, Happy New Year to all of you out there. And I hope everyone had a great Christmas as well. And if you're here tonight or listening to us, that means you got a championship to win, and we're here to help bring it home for you. We're going to, of course, give you some starts and sits for week 17. We'll go over some injuries, and of course, our own sophisticated station, Andrew Leduc, will be busting out his sophisticated starts of the week. Happy New Year, guys. It's time for a new year, but more importantly, it's time for TSS Fantasy.
Yeah! Here we go!
It's time for TSS Fantasy. It is Commissioner Cooper.
I could do a whole 49ers show right now.
Ready to rock out with my gavel out.
Oh yeah, baby!
Don't sleep on my Patriots,
I think we're ready for football. Is that
Joe Burrow with this wrist? I'm curious.
I find you guilty of all charges.
Although you consistent force in this
Please develop some really great talent.
DJ Chuck Bass.
This guy has been doing it ever since coming off.
I hope you like the web.
He's made 4 targets in all 3 of the last
Game for a touchdown this year.
You know, the great thing about being a football player is you don't have to take a shower to go to work.
There it is.
That's a great thing about being a fantasy host as well. Don't need a shower at all. Let's welcome in all of you, of course. Like I said, it's championship weekend, so we're here to help bring that title home to everyone today. Let's introduce, of course, my co-host, Justin Jesus Herrera. Welcome into the studio, sir. And the Mute Monster
Strikes. Mute Monster 2024. Hopefully it'll be gone like this cough in 2025. But I'll tell you this, Commissioner. There is no worse start than having Caleb Williams, CJ Stroud, and Zach Charbonnet in one lineup. I'll tell you what, I might as well just concede already because that literally broke my heart and it's made me hate fantasy forever. I might quit. I might never do this show ever again, but I'll probably see you on Sunday. But I'm here to help you guys win because you got to make better decisions than I did.
Yeah, that's so they want to hear our great decisions and how we do things, of course. All right, well, let's, of course, pay the bills. If you're watching on YouTube, do us a solid, hit subscribe, give a like, hit notification bells, put your lineup questions in. Little things stopping you from doing it, big things popping for us when you do, so we always appreciate it. Also, if you want to play if you're out of the playoffs and you got nothing else better to do, go play some DFS and go to Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code TSS. We'll double that deposit up to $100. Make some good money as the NFL season comes to a close. And as, of course, we're talking about it, if you're looking around for some championship bling for your fantasy champion, of course, look no further than Pro-Am Belts. It's that time of the year, ladies and gentlemen. Well, as Justin alluded to, we got some games to talk about. I don't know how much longer we'll spend on them because they weren't much, but we got 3 whole games that we just passed. Let's talk about some news. Well. I don't know where to start. Maybe we'll just go back to the beginning. Let's go back in time a bit. Let's go Steelers against the Chiefs. Now, I kind of knew the Chiefs were going to win this game just because they win every damn game. And, you know, the Steelers have been on a bit of a struggle bus, but God, I didn't know it was going to be like this. And, you know, after we talk about the Ravens and Texans, just bring this point up. It's almost as if the elite are showing the middle tier or the middle class that you're just middle class. So you ain't part of this elite group. 29-10 Chiefs. And if you had Patrick Mahomes all season and struggled with them and you got to the championship, 320 and 3 TDs to help pay you off for sticking with him. He got in 12 yards rushing as well. I mean, other than that, you got Travis Kelce, obviously, the 8 receptions, 84 yards, and a TD. Also been struggling all damn year long, but at least gave you a little something there at the end. Hopefully you start him. Xavier Worthy, 8 receptions, 79 yards, and a TD as well. And on the Steelers side, there just wasn't much to talk about. Najee, and Jalen did their thing. They split carries, both got 74 yards and basically did nothing with them. So, it is what it is. Russ did get some yards on the ground, 55 yards, and he got a TD in. So he might have had an okay day with Russ. I'm just going to run through them, Justin, and then we can just talk about them all three real quick when we're done. Ravens, Texans, 31-2. Someone might want to wake up Houston, let them know Christmas was happening because they were still counting their sugar plums, whatever the hell you want to call it. It was not a good day for the Texans. They might as well have just put the second string in because they probably would have played a little better. Of course, Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry. 27 carries, 147 yards, and a TD, of course. So great day for Mr. Henry with 2 receptions and 18 yards. Lamar Jackson didn't have to do much. He just didn't have to do much. It was 168, 2 TDs. He also got 4 carries for 87 yards and a TD, surpassing Michael Vick. We talked, well, I don't know if we talked about that, but that's something that's been going on. A narrative that's been out there. Of course, Mark Andrews had 68 yards, 1 TD, and that was on 2 receptions. And what's crazy is that's how much Lamar spread the ball around. Was the highest reception getter, tied with Zay Flowers, who had 2, and Derrick Henry had 2. So that was about how the ball was spread around from Lamar's side of things. And again, with the Texans, I don't know what the hell happened because this, if this was on a Sunday, I would have definitely got Joe Mixon. I would have definitely got Nico Collins into my lineup because the Ravens defense has been atrocious. But wow, did they show up big time? And like I said earlier, it's like the elite are showing the middle class who they really are. And then we had last night's game, 6-3, put me to sleep. Zach Charbonnet was another guy that everyone was hot on because Ken Walker is now being out for the season. So everyone was all excited about Zach Charbonnet last night. Did not do much of anything. 15 carries, 57 yards, 3 receptions on 19 yards. It was just a bad night for both offenses, quite frankly. I think if I remember correctly, let me go look at the stats here because I thought I saw Keenan Allen. No, he didn't do anything. 5 receptions, 25 yards. DJ Moore, 6 receptions, 54 yards. There just wasn't much to talk about on any of these games. So, Justin, give me your thoughts on any big thoughts on any of those 3 wonderful NFL games that they had for us for Christmas.
Yeah, no, I think you really hit it home when you said it was just the elite saying, hey, you guys aren't contenders. Because, and in the case of the Bears versus Seattle, it was 2 teams that I think Seattle just figured out they are not contenders, period. Like, even if they win it out and win against the Rams and take the NFC West, nobody's scared of the Seahawks after that game. But yeah, especially with Baltimore shutting down Houston to just a safety was incredibly impressive. And it kind of shows the regression we've seen with CJ Stroud in this offense. Stroud was a hot ticket guy going into the season, and now he's looking like somebody you could probably get for pretty cheap in dynasty leagues. I mean, not cheap, but a lot of people are starting to sour on him real quick. And then, Kansas City's Kansas City. Like you said, I picked the Steelers because I thought the defense was going to show up, but the problem was Russ didn't show up. Pickens didn't show up. This run game didn't show up, and this team is fading really fast. So, I'll just sum it up as this was you started who got you to the dance no matter what. And unfortunately, Joe Mixon has fallen completely off a cliff. Everybody else seemed to be fine. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, those guys cashed in. But Joe Mixon for the past 3 weeks has fallen completely off a cliff. So if you made it to the finals with Joe Mixon, congratulations. But this might be it. You might not win your title because of him.
Yeah, there's a few guys that you start, as you mentioned, Amy and Zach Charbonnet. We talked about, being that hot guy. I mean, you started a couple yourself, and that they just did not show up, unfortunately, for the one game you needed them to, the biggest one of them all, unfortunately. It's funny you mentioned CJ Stroud in Dynasty because when this year started, I have Josh Allen and CJ Stroud. So I put Josh Allen. I was so confident in CJ Stroud. I put Josh Allen on the block. But nobody wanted to deal because they knew I was coming with some noise because So just put my dynasty team in perspective. I have Nick Chubb, and I was picking up all kind of people just to throw in at the running backs. But I got no running backs. Great receivers and the great QBs. Got Trey McBride at tight end. I got a great squad other than got no running backs. So I wanted to kind of rebuild. I went into the season thinking it was going to be a rebuilding year. Ended up getting pretty far into the playoffs. Unfortunately, not all the way, but it just goes to show you, pre-summer hype isn't always what it amounts to be. So just to throw that out there anyway. All right, well, we got no Brian tonight, but if you don't know, I am a physical therapist licensed, so I can talk about some injuries. So let's bring up some injuries.
A.J. Dillon just went into the medical tent a moment ago.
Well, let's talk about the injuries. Now, we do know just offhand, I'm going to scroll through these. To be honest with you, I wasn't prepared as I should be. But we do know offhand CeeDee Lamb is done for the season. That was kind of the big news coming out this week. So no CeeDee Lamb. Jalen Tolbert's a little banged up too. So just talking about that game in general, if you need someone, I hope you don't need anyone in your championship week, but maybe Brandon Cooks could be a guy that you could throw in your flex spot. Could be a decent play this week. Let's go. We'll just go down the list. Trey Benson and James Conner both were limited this week, but James Conner looks like he's going to be a go, so should be good there. Drake London, he was limited all week, even up till today, but he did do a full session, so it looks like he's going to play. Justice Hill looks like he is out for this coming up. Well, I'm sorry, they already played. What the hell am I talking about? So see, that's what I mean. I'm not as prepared as I should be. Josh Allen, I saw a report that came out today that he did break his hand in game 1 this season. He's also dealing with some shoulder and elbow issues, but he's going to play. He's practiced all week. Duncan Cade also got some injuries to his knee, but he looks like he is ready to go as well. Xavier Legette, he was limited Thursday and Friday, but he looks like he's questionable. Should be a go. Same with Adam Thielen. He had a hamstring issue, but looks like they're going to be ready to play. Bryce Young also dealing with some hamstring issues, but he practiced all week. He should be good to go as well. Joe Burrow dealing with some wrist injuries and the knee, and he was limited. Same with T. Higgins, ankle, knee. Questionable, but looks like ready to go. Njoku and Cedric Tillman look like they are going to be out, but they were kind of limited today, so maybe on them, but looks like they're going to be out is what it's saying. We know CeeDee Lamb is out. Just mentioned that. Jaleel McLaughlin, he had full practices Thursday. He's ready to go. Had some quadriceps issues. We know David Montgomery's gone. Tank Dell obviously is done for the season. Michael Pittman had some back issues, and Alec Pierce, but both look like they will play on this Sunday. They both practice. Evan Ingram, we know, is out on IR. Gus Edwards, this is something that could be interesting. His dealing with an ankle issue. He looks like he is out. J.K. Dobbins right now, he did a full practice with a knee, but is still listed as questionable. So maybe Vidal could be the guy against a good matchup against the Patriots this week. But again, if J.K. Dobbins is the go, yeah, you lucked out because you got a good matchup and it'll be just him in that backfield. For America's team, the Miami Dolphins, Jalen Waddle, Tua, and Tyreek Hill, and Terron Armstead are all questionable, but they all were limited on Friday, so they at least went to practice on Friday, so we're good to go there. No Derek Carr and no Alvin Kamara for the Saints. And so whatever on that, who cares? Malik Neighbors is questionable this week as well. Same with Tyrone Tracy. So maybe Devin Singletary could be somebody if you're in a pinch. Devonta Adams, he's actually hasn't practiced pretty much all week, but he did put in a little today. So he should be okay. I guess he's questionable, but should be a go this week. We mentioned Jalen Hurts being out. Dallas Goedert still out, so no goes on there. Garendo for the 49ers has some foot and hamstring issues. He was limited this week, but he looks like he's ready to go as well. Kenneth Walker, they've already played, but we know he's on IR. So, if you go into week 18, any of you guys have those 2-week championships, which I don't know why, but if you do, drop that dead weight. They're not coming back, so don't bother with it. It's good. Terry McLaurin for the Commanders, he was limited Thursday, but did have a full practice on Friday, so he should be good to go as well. It looks like he had banged up his ankle a little bit. So there is your injury news by the professional physical therapist that gave you no insight on those actual injuries. So there you go. All right. Appreciate you guys. We're going to take a quick break by our friends from NeuroGuard. When we get back, we're going to break down week 17.
Dr. Michael Hutchison has harnessed the latest in neuromuscular dentistry and impact technology to develop a mouthguard that does more than protect. It enhances. NeuroGuard Plus isn't just a mouthguard. By focusing on the jaw's physiological position, it provides an added layer of neuroprotection, significantly reducing the risk of sports-related neurological injuries. All athletes should be using a custom mouthguard designed to their bite position. NeuroGuard Plus was created as a means to maintain your physiological jaw position regardless of your bite. The appliance is designed to optimize your upper-lower jaw relationship to improve your strength, your balance, your oxygen intake, and drastically lower your chance of a concussion. Independent studies have shown that the NeuroGuard Plus will provide you with improvement to both upper and lower body strength. The same improvements were not present with a common mouthguard. Over 6,500 athletes have used the NeuroGuard Plus. Dr. Hutchison is happy to say that the amount of diagnosed concussions is 0.2%. The NeuroGuard Plus offers athletes, coaches, and parents an advantage to keep their players safe on the field. If you or your child actively participates in athletics, they need to be protected from the dangers of repetitive head trauma. Get your NeuroGuard Plus mouthguard today. Click on the link and use code ILPSports for 10% discount on your purchase.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, get your dancing shoes on. It's time to break it on down.
Break down! Bring it on down! Break down! Bring it on down! Bring it on down!
Reminds me of that scene in Pee Wee Herman when he, I guess, showing my age, talking about Pee Wee Herman. All right, let's go to the Saturday games, of course, and start out with the 1 o'clock, not the light, I'm about to say the Clippers, the Chargers.
Yeah.
I put the initials, I put LAC, so first thing I would think of LA Clippers. Chargers against the Patriots. The Chargers against fantasy QBs are 15th, 11th against running backs, 26th against receivers, 8th against tight ends. New England side, they're against QBs are 14th, 22nd against running backs, 26th against receivers, and 18th against tight ends. So what say you? Give me guys you like and don't like with the Chargers.
I'm a big fan of Justin Herbert this week. Think he could have himself a nice game. This team is very gettable. That goes straight up with Ladd McConkey as well. Of course, whoever is the running back, I'm also a big proprietor of. If it's J.K. Dobbins, put him in your lineup. If it's Kamani Vidal, maybe put him in your DFS lineup because they obviously haven't used him to his full potential yet. So I don't know if he's going to get that, but when we did see it, it was kind of a nice little spark as far as him being a pass catcher. Pardon me, Christmas cough coming up. But as far as anybody else goes, if Will Dissly plays, he's been almost automatic 12 points every single game. If you're looking for somebody to take over that position from Njoku or somebody else, or you don't trust Hunter Henry in this game, I would go there. Speaking of that, I don't trust Hunter Henry in this game. I think this is probably where you take over with the Patriots, but I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't trust Hunter Henry in this game.
I haven't trusted him all year. You guys have called him out a few times. I'm like, yeah, no, whatever I can do, I can look for something else. But on the Patriots side, this is one of those kind of funny games where I'm like, the Chargers, if you would have asked me a couple weeks ago, I'd be like, I don't like any Patriots. It's probably what you would heard from me. But this Chargers D has definitely struggled as of late. So, situationally speaking, I could see a scenario where the Chargers are up and Drake May going to have to try to put the ball or the team on his shoulders, what I meant to say, and get this team back into it. So Drake May to me more in that mid-tier category. So if you got somebody that you're unsure of, or I don't see any situation I have a Drake May as my starter. I'd be real about it. But you could see some okay points from him. Ramondre Stevenson. I know there's some issues going on with Antonio Gibson too. I don't know. It's a mess there. So I'm not really trusting pretty much anyone on this roster, quite frankly. Haven't believed in them all season long. They've kind of proven me right, quite frankly. So nobody really that I would be like, oh my God, I'm totally in love with any of these guys. If I could find a better option, you've got a struggling offense against a pretty decent defense. And this could be, we've talked about how the upper echelon teams have kind of showed the mid-tier teams who they are. Well, this could be a mid-tier team showing a lower tier team who they are as well, because the Chargers need to get right if they're going to get something going for this playoff. So we shall see, but we expect a big game all the way over from the Chargers. All right, let's go to an interesting game now. The Broncos at the Bengals. Broncos against fantasy QBs are 7th, 16th against running backs, 7th against receivers, and 16th against tight ends. For the Bengals side, 28th against QBs, 19th against running backs, 11th versus receivers, and they are dead last. They've been the guys you want to play your tight ends with against tight ends. So what do you say, guys you like and don't like? Give me the Broncos this time.
I'm going to keep it real short and simple. I'm going to go with Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton, because I know there's going to be points put up, and I think that those two are going to be the head of it. But as we've seen with the Broncos so far this year, the third string tight end from Wisconsin is going to be put in whenever Sean Payton gets the chance to, and he's going to get a touchdown. So hell if I know his name, I'm not going to put him on my fantasy roster for that game. But I'm just, Sean Payton's a mystery, man. He'll put in some guy that he picked up from the gas station. Jason, really, like, straight up, this guy is the guy to go to. He'll get you a payday and a touchdown. Like, we should just sign up, see if we can get on the Broncos team.
I'm hoping. Here's what my hope is. Next summer, I'm going to beg Coach Westhoff early to get on our summer tour show, because I want to talk to him about Sean Payton. I truly believe Sean Payton goes into football games like, you know what? I hate fantasy football, and I just want to make sure that I just kill everyone's hopes. Anyone who drafted any of my good running backs, nah, they're not going to do well today. I'm going to put the backup in. I'm going to put the guy that nobody drafted in this week. I want to get some insight on how this man thinks, because you're so right. He just puts in whatever he feels working. But listen, can't argue with the results. I did not think the Broncos would be a playoff team this year, and they're right up in the mix, obviously. So,
for sure.
Hats off to him. On the Bengals side, I mean, it's Joe Burrow all day long. If you're in this championship game, could be because of him. Had a great season thus far. Chase Brown, he's a good play. Right now, Denver has been one of those top defenses all year, but just like the Chargers, starting to slip up a little bit as the season's starting to wind down. Obviously, you're going Jamar Chase. He's going to be a top 10 guy. T. Higgins, can't go wrong there. Is Gesicki? No, not even going to play with that. You go with your bread and butter. Jamar is up there. I got Chase Brown this week. He's out of the top 10, but he's certainly a good, solid RB2 in my estimation. Obviously, Jamar is a receiver 1. I say Higgins is a low tier 1 to a high end 2 this week. So that's my thought on the Bengals anyway. All right, let's go. The next one, the Chargers. God, I'm all over the place. The Cardinals at the Rams. Cardinals against fantasy QBs are 17th or 26th against running backs, 15th against receivers, or 6th against tight ends. The Rams, 23rd against QBs, 15th versus running backs, 19th versus receivers, 24th against tight ends. This is right in your wheelhouse, my friend. The NFC West, big showdown here. Give me the who you like and don't like on the Rams side.
On the Rams side, it's, I can't trust too much other than, Puka Nacua. Cooper Kupp can be a flex play because these two teams tend to go off on each other. At least the first time, the Cardinals went, way off on the Rams. I imagine the Rams are going to try and get back in this one, but Puka Nacua is the must start. Cooper Kupp is the flex if you need it. Kyron Williams, obviously a must start. You don't really stray away from too much in that one because this game has the potential to either be an absolute slobber knocker or a blowout. And I don't really want to test the defense on either one of those. Kyler Murray, in my opinion, tends to play better when nothing's on the line. So nothing's on the line. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean, Stafford's a nice play as a QB2, in my opinion. But if you got better options at QB1, I would probably play him. I'd probably bench him.
Okay, sorry, my cord fell out of my mic there. My bad. So Kyron Williams to me is a smash start on that side. I mean, Cardinals have shown they love giving it up to the running backs. As you said, Puka Nacua is the definite truth this year. Some of the catches, the highlight catches he's made this season. If you didn't believe in this guy before this season, you definitely believe in now. And you hit it on the head, man. The freaking Cardinals, bro, are just up and down. They're almost like a version of the Texans, if you will, where you expected all these big points from the Cardinals. Same with the Texans. Felt like C.J. Stroud's a bit of a struggle. Kyler Murray's been struggling this season. Marvin Harrison Jr., you brought that up about him not being very that physical guy, which I think will learn eventually. Although his dad wasn't, his dad was a little bit of a different player, kind of that quiet off-read guy too. But when it comes up to like jump one-on-one balls, can't really Marvin Harrison Jr. right now. So but I think in this matchup, as you alluded to, if it becomes one of those back and forth, you can definitely, with confidence, have Marvin Harrison Jr. lineup. But he's definite, for me, he's in that flex range. So if you got somebody you're kind of iffy on, I wouldn't mind plugging him in this matchup for the eventual payoff. And you've got Trey McBride, top 5 this week, easy breezy. Rams love giving it up to the tight ends. So you got to love Trey McBride this week. So he's one of my top 5 tight ends without a shadow of a doubt. And other than that, with, I know James Conner is a little banged up, but he's been money all season long. So there's just, if you got him, he's definitely in my flex range to an RB2. Only saying that because of the injury concerns coming into the game. But other than that, he's always the number 1 RB. Just because of the injuries this week, I'd kind of downgrade him a little bit. All right, let's go. Cowboys at the Eagles. Cowboys against fantasy QBs are 30th, 22nd against running backs, 24th against receivers, 7th against tight ends. Philly, 8th against QBs, 2nd against running backs, 8th against receivers, 4th against tight ends. So give me guys you like and don't like on the Jalen Hurts less Eagles.
This is a really tough one because Jalen Hurts really is the spoon that stirs that drink. We found out that the defense was really that good last week because they kept them in that game all the way to the end. They actually made points for that team. So I would say don't be surprised if the defense shows up again against Dallas, especially with CD Lamb out. So the defense is a really good start. As far as the offensive weapons go, it's going to be interesting to see how Kenny Pickett handles this. I'm not starting Kenny Pickett, but I seem to have no problem thinking that A.J. Brown will at least have some sort of a good game. And then at the same time, I kind of am hesitant on Devonta Smith just because it's Kenny Pickett. I don't think he's ever had 2 receivers to get the ball to before. So I don't know if he's going to be able to handle that with his big boy pants. And, Saquon is the obvious start for sure. So, if I'm leaving somebody out, I'm leaving out Devonta Smith. And, I think the one guy who might actually benefit is the short game, Dallas Goedert. We might actually see a Dallas Goedert week this week.
Well, Dallas Goedert's out, but
Dallas Goedert out. Grant Caltera.
There you go. Daniel Perry, Sports Highlights. What is up, my brother? Thanks for checking in. Happy New Year to you, my brother. Appreciate you joining us tonight. So definitely feel you. Now, again, this was a game last week that Kenny Pickett wasn't expected to go into, obviously. But seeing what I saw, it was just A.J. Brown, A.J. Brown, A.J. Brown, A.J. Brown.
touchdown. So, which is understandable if you're a guy just coming into a game. What do we always say is the best friend of a young QB is that big tight end? Well, A.J. Brown looks like a big-ass tight end to me. So, that's somebody I could definitely see. I could see them game planning Devonta Smith, obviously, into this matchup. So you could see, some decent, but he's, like you said, I think he's more flex option, if you will, where I would love to have an A.J. Brown in my lineup this week. On Dallas's side, no CeeDee Lamb. I mentioned Brandon Cooks could be a possible guy, but I just don't know. Cooper Rush is not for nothing, has played really well. And Rico Dowdle. All these, I could make a case for them, but then I look at the other side and I'm like, wow, that defense, though. And I've been calling this defense out since the beginning of the season. So I feel good about looking at it now at the end, feeling I was right about that. They are legit. Although I called out the Titans secondary all year. They're not that legit. But the Eagles D is legit, period. They shut down, who did they play last week? I forgot. Sorry, I had it in my head and I forgot.
What's that? The Cowboys or the
last
Eagles?
week?
Who are you looking for? The Cowboys or the Eagles?
No, who did the Eagles play last week?
Oh, the Commanders.
Yeah, so they shut down their running game completely. Ryan Robinson Jr. was like an afterthought. Brought Chris Rodriguez in for no reason. I mean, it was not good all the way around for the Commanders' run game, which you could see. Secondary can be had at times, so, but with the lack of weapons, there's not one person on the Cowboys I would start. I would not even put Rico Dowdle in my flex. I would try to find some better options because this defense is legit. So, yeah, nothing I like over there. All right, let's go Carolina at the Buccaneers. Carolina against fantasy QBs are 29th. They're dead last against running backs, 10th against receivers, and 29th against tight ends. The Bucs, 31st against QBs, 12th against running backs, 26th against receivers, and 27th against tight ends. All right, what say you? Guys you like and don't like on the Panthers.
Yeah, so actually this is an okay week if you're needing to start Bryce Young. I think he's been proving a lot of people wrong. I think that the Bucs are a defense that have obviously been had before, and Cooper Rush had an amazing game against them. Why can't Bryce Young? He's gonna have a lot of his weapons too. So I think this is gonna be an okay game for him. I know you said Adam Thielen's hampering with a hamstring right now. If he's a go, you definitely play Adam Thielen in. If he's not, then Jalen Coker is a nice option on DFS, not a option for your regular lineups. I would not recommend that. That's living on the edge for sure. Unless you're like in a deep dynasty league and you really need the help. But yeah, Chuba Hubbard too. Chuba Hubbard is the only one that I'm like 100% put him in. He's won you this far. He's got you this far. Keep on going with him.
Yeah, so to what you alluded to, this game itself could be a decent fantasy game. You got two squads, the defenses just struggle, and could see some good points on either side as far as your fantasy matchups is concerned. I got the easy job. It's Baker Mayfield. He's at least top 15 this week for me, if not top 10. Bucky Irving obviously is definite big start against his Panthers team. Everyone loves to run on the Panthers. So you got to like that. You got to love Mike Evans. No matter what, they're going to try to feed him, get as many possible yards as they possibly can. So you got to love Mike Evans in the matchup. Again, Keaton's kind of fallen off the fantasy radar. And it's a good matchup, although, I saw him, he was a little banged up with injuries, but he's expected to go. But he'd be a guy, he's outside like my top 12 guys. But I wouldn't be surprised if you have like an issue with your tight end this week. He is definitely somebody you can plug and play this week if he just so happens to be out there. Somebody got frustrated and dropped him. But other than that, let's just make it easy. Start your starters. In this matchup, you should see some good fantasy points actually on both sides of the football. In a game, I feel it could be the opposite of that. The Jets visit the Buffalo Bills. The Jets against fantasy QBs are 11th, 9th against running backs, 3rd against receivers, and 9th against tight ends. Buffalo side, they're 10th against QBs, 30th against running backs, 20th against receivers, and they're 15th against tight ends. So guys you like and don't like on the Bills side.
So hearing that Josh Allen has his broken hand and shoulder injury, it kind of does put a red alert on for me. But it's still Josh Allen in the end, and he's still going to find a way to score. So I would just say, obviously throw him in there, but maybe look at the projected points and go, okay, can I make it through? Because it might be a lot closer to the projected than the 70 points that he put up in a previous game. So it might be one of those situations where you go, okay, I'm going to get 25 points from him today. Can I make it through with every other piece and adjust that way? On the Bill side, James Cook's a go. Figuring out this wide receiver core has been a fucking hassle. You thought just it was going to be Amari Cooper, but he seems to have not shown up at all. Like, did he ever get off the bus? I don't know. If he might still be in Cleveland for all we know. Dalton Kincaid, I would be okay with starting Dalton Kincaid if you don't have any other tight ends, if you don't have like a McBride or somebody like that. And then seems like it just should be Khalil Shakir and then leave Keon Coleman, Amari Cooper, all those guys on the bench, because I don't think I want to take a chance with this Bills offense. I think Khalil Shakir is going to get fed regardless. He'll get you PPR numbers, but it just seems like this Bills offense will throw a touchdown to Mac Hollins before it throws a touchdown to somebody that you need.
Very true. It's a big crapshoot in the receiving side of things. I love the James Cook, though, this week. I think he's set up for a good game. On the other side with these Jets, talk about a little bit of resurgence in the offense, at least towards the end of the season. I'm not in love with Devonta Adams, being that he's been dealing with the injuries, which means I would like Garrett Wilson. He'd go up there at least in the top 20, 25 receivers this week, especially if Devonta Adams is out. You expect him to pick up the load. But the guy I really like here is Breece Hall. I really, I've been talking about all year that Buffalo defense against running backs. They've been giving it up all year long. So Breece Hall is a guy, if the Jets finally start to make some sense, start running the football a little bit more with the guys that have a lot of talent, you should see a lot of Breece Hall. Unfortunately, though, game script, if Buffalo gets up big, they might not be in a position to just run the football, so that would kind of hamper his day. But I still think Breece Hall is at least a top 10 play this week because of the front seven of the Bills. So that's my take on that game. Let's go Colts at the Giants. Colts against fantasy QBs are 16th or 25th against running backs, 13th against receivers. They are 31st against tight ends. On the Giants side, 24th against QBs, 28th against running backs, 14th against receivers, and they are number 2 against tight ends. So let's go. Let me give you the Giants, guys you like and don't like on that side.
So I apologize. Did you say anything about Malik Neighbors? Did he practice at all? I know he didn't practice Thursday.
I think I did. I will. He is. I think they were set. He was expected to play. I think Malik Neighbor. He had limited work, so he's still questionable, but he had limited work on Friday.
Okay, so that's pretty much what's set up for last week too. So I'll play Malik Neighbors. This Indianapolis Colts defense can be had. I don't think they're going to be had to the level, but I think that Malik Neighbors could definitely put up another one of those 10 catch games where you get a ton of fantasy points just based off of his raw numbers. So I think that's a great one. Tyrone Tracy, another good play. After that, no. Just stay away from them. No, I'm not going to do it, Jason. I'm not going to do it.
Don't, trust me. You're good. On the Colts side, Anthony Richardson a little banged up too. He is going to play, but being that he's a bit banged up, could this be hello Jonathan Taylor again, part 2 this week? We saw how he blew up last week. This is a great matchup and a good way for them to really just pound the rock. Let me look real quick actually, because it's supposed to be a rainy weekend. That was something I wanted to point out earlier. Yeah, so in that game, it does say rain is called for. Winds up to 10 miles an hour. Not a huge windy day, but if it's rain, man, Jonathan Taylor to the moon this week. He's a top 5 guy. I think that's a great play this week. And talking about crapshoots, here you go again with is it Michael Pittman week? Is it Josh Downs week? It's just, we just don't know. Nobody's really stepped up to be the guy in Indianapolis, quite frankly. So there's just nothing else I really trust. I would not go with Anthony Richardson this week, being that he's a little banged up, being that the weather's calling for a little rain. I'm all on Jonathan Taylor. That's all. If I was looking for some fruit, he'd be the pick of the bunch. Everything else is a little ripe for me, and I just wouldn't take it. So Jonathan Taylor would be my guy out of that bunch. All right, let's go the Raiders against the Saints. Against fantasy QBs, the Raiders are 25th. They're 18th against running backs, 12th against receivers, and they're 28th against tight ends. On the Saints side, 9th against QBs, 27th against running backs, 25th against receivers, and they're 10th against tight ends. So give me guys. I don't even know which one to give you here. Just take whichever one, bro, because I don't even know which one's a good or a bad one here.
Oh my God. I'll just take the one that's not going to make my head fucking spin. I'll take the Raiders. I'll take the Raiders for 500, Trebek. And I'll go with straight up Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, and Alexander Madison in real desperation flex mode. That's it.
I'll make it real easy on the Saints side. I mean, again, you're in your championship week. All right. Now, if this was any other week, I'd be like, Desmond, I could just I could give you some analysis on what one guy could have a good day, but there's just nothing here. Even though the Raiders defense is trash, but the Saints offense is just even worse. They have no Carr, no Kamara, no Chris Olave. Bro, I'm done. There's nothing here I would tell you to start. If I did, I would not. I was going to say I wouldn't consider myself a fancy expert, but I don't really consider myself that anyway. So what the hell? But yeah, it's Toilet Bowl City with the Raiders versus the Saints. And then we're going to go follow it back up with Toilet Bowl number 2 with the Titans at the Jaguars. Titans against fantasy QBs are 21st or 21st against running backs. They're 4th against receivers. See, I keep trying to talk up that secondary. 5th against tight ends. On the Jaguar side, they are dead last against QBs. They're 31st against running backs. They're 28th against receivers, 26th against tight ends. All right, guys you like and don't like, let me give you the Titans side. See what you think.
Wow. The Titans side, wow. You know what? I actually don't mind Mason Rudolph this week. If you're in a real fucking pinch, Mason Rudolph, not a bad option. He performed last week. Jacksonville's an easy defense to perform against. Should be at least. And then, if Pollard suits up, I'm going with Pollard. If he doesn't, I'm very happy with Tajay Spears. I'm very happy starting Tajay Spears. Chig Okonkwo, Big Chig, had himself a big day these past 2 weeks. And it's been Mason Rudolph has kind of, I think, changed a little bit of this guy's luck. He's getting some more targets. He's getting some more looks. So hopefully that continues this week. Just because of this matchup itself, I don't mind starting a Titan in my championship game. Because if you have one of those guys or you have Ridley, it's not a bad move. I wouldn't do Westbrook Akina because it's strictly touchdown or bust. And I don't want that type of heart palpitations on championship week. But, Chig, Ridley, Spears for sure, and then Pollard for sure if he plays.
And don't forget a bit of a revenge game for Ridley here, so maybe could see a big game for him. But I mean, like you said, it's either one of those running backs I would love against the Jaguars. On the Jaguar side, obviously not going with the QB situation. And the running back situation, quite frankly, is just a kind of hit or a miss as well. Both these guys, it's really who the hot hand seems to be, although I just don't really understand who that ever seems to be. Brian Thomas Jr., though, that's the guy. I mean, if he's got him, he's definitely flex-worthy at the very least, if not wide receiver 2 at the very least. Again, I have mentioned the Titans secondary is good, but Brian Thomas Jr. has gone against many good secondaries, and doesn't matter who the QB is, this guy is money. So definitely somebody who is a flex-worthy start in your lineup this week. And other than that, that's about it. So not much really excites me on the Jag side, quite frankly, but you got to love Brian Thomas Jr., what he's done. And it's the thing about fantasy is you want to go with consistency, and that man has been nothing but consistent. So I'm good with a BTJ start this week. That doesn't sound right. All right, let's go to America's team, the Miami Dolphins, going against the Cleveland Browns, and a must-win for the Fish. For the Dolphins, they are number 2 against QBs, 14th against running backs, 5th against receivers, they're 21st against tight ends. Cleveland side, 19th against QBs, 5th against running backs, 27th against receivers, 23rd against tight ends. So, give me guys you like and don't like on the Cleveland Browns.
Sorry, I got the Cleveland Browns fucking. The idea of it makes me fucking want to gag. But you know, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, yeah, he kind of ruins everything for everybody. So for that, I'll say Jerome Ford, David Njoku if he plays, and nobody else because he ruins everything for everybody. The guy is not a quarterback. Please try Jameis one more time just for the sake of your fans that come and show up to that game just so they can see something. But otherwise, yeah, no. Dorian Thompson-Robinson ruins everything. Trademark it. I want that marked. I want that a bumper sticker.
This is my get right Tyreek game. So at least wide receiver 2 worthy here in this matchup. Jalen Waddle is a little banged up, but should go. But if he doesn't, obviously that puts Tyreek up in wide receiver 1 consideration. You gotta love Jonnu Smith. I mean, he has just been their receiver 3 all year long. They tried the Odell experiment. They tried Malik Washington. They tried Barrios. They've tried everything, but they can't find a third receiver, so they just use the tight end instead. So you gotta love Jonnu Smith. He's definitely a top 5 guy for me this week. Devon Achane, there's nothing else. Again, talked about consistency. He's been consistent all year long. This is a tough matchup, though. So, I don't know if he'll exceed the expectations or the projected points that people have put out for him. But you still expect a solid game. He's definitely, at the very least, in our running back 2 this week. So I'm good with Achane this week too. So fins up, baby. Let's go. All right, let's go to a good matchup here. The Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. Against QBs, the Packers are number 1. They're number 3 against running backs, number 2 against receivers, and they're 22nd against tight ends. Minnesota, 5th against QBs, 17th against running backs, still dead last against receivers, and 14th against tight ends. So give me guys you like and don't like. I don't even know which of they're both good here. So let's give you Minnesota. What do you think? Oh,
first game we could say guns a-blazing, put them all in there. We're going because if you're Minnesota, you're putting Aaron Jones in, you're putting Sam Darnold in, you're putting all the guys that got you there in. And I'm telling you, that includes TJ Hawkinson. I think that Hawk can have a good game against the Packs today, or Pack on Sunday. But yeah, I'm throwing Addison in there. Addison has done nothing but prove he's money. Jefferson has been money in the playoffs. Darnold is doing nothing but throwing TDs. Like, come on. Like, you're not putting anybody out of this game.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. Speaking of Hawkinson, let me give you a little break here. The Packers side, I think you said light it all up. This is good. It should be a nice shootout type game. Josh Jacobs, consistent. I've been saying all show, definitely giving him a nice start this week. Now, their receiving core is funny because it's kind of like a lot of receiving cores around the league that have good options. It's hard to pick which one. But I think in my whatever world that I live in, Jaden Reed's going to be my guy this week. I think, we haven't heard a ton from him as of late. And I think this is one of those, let's get him back on track, as in the beginning of the season, man, he was lights out. I think this is a get right game for Jaden Reed with the Vikings secondary being so suspect against receivers. You got to like Jordan Love this week. Probably be top 12 to 15 guy. I don't know if he'd be top 5. Again, the Vikings still got an okay defense, so it's not like I'm expecting to throw 500 yards. So should have a good game, though. So if you got him as your starter, you can feel good about it. But the guys, the receiving core, it's one of those crapshoots. So I'm just going to roll the dice with Jaden Reed this week. Obviously, Josh Jacobs is that guy. Tyler Kraft, he's kind of like, he's kind of like Kate Otten in the same respect, where he got hot for a little bit and we didn't hear much after that. So, not somebody I'd be confident in starting this week. But I'm good with Jordan Love, definitely good with Josh Jacobs, and Jaden Reed is going to be my guy to pick from this receiving core this week. All right, let's go to the Falcons at the Commanders in the Sunday night delight against QBs. The Atlanta Falcons are 26th, 10th against running backs, 31st against receivers, 12th against tight ends. The Commanders, 13th against QBs, 13th against running backs, 17th against receivers, 11th against tight ends. I think Marshawn Lattimore might be out this game as well. So it could make some interesting fantasy game nonetheless. But give me guys you like and don't like on the Commander side.
Jaden Daniels, can you please stand up? Yeah, I like me some Jaden Daniels in this game. I thought I was going to, I think I still like B-Rob in this game. I think I like him more as a flex. Obviously, McLaurin is a go. I think Ertz gets right in this game. And then I do think that we're going to start thinking about getting one of these crazy guys like Zacchaeus or Jamison Crowder. I don't know if I want Crowder, but I definitely think I want Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus, this is a revenge game for Zacchaeus. He played for the Falcons for a long time. Could be a nice little play. If anything, play him in your DFS. He's going to be dirt cheap there.
A revenge game for Zacchaeus. Indeed. I like that call. I remember distinctly when we were doing the summer show and you just said very point blank, we were talking about what other receivers were going to step up the Falcons. You're like, it's not going to be Zacchaeus. I just really saying that distinctly. So it's funny you're bringing them up. The Falcons against, look, last week, you're going to start Bijan. So he's got you where you're at, no doubt about it. So he's definitely up for some play this week. Kind of hard to tell with Drake London or Mooney. Drake London had a good week last week. Had a decent week last week. I don't know that good, but had a decent week last week. So he's somebody I think is at least flex worthy. I think Mooney's a little flex worthy in this matchup as well. And the reason I say that is the Commanders secondary sometimes gets a little suspect, and I would expect the Commanders to be up a bit early on the Falcons and expect them to have to throw themselves back into this game. So that could be something that plays into a factor. Kyle Pitts, I don't even know what to say no more, man. I thought for sure he was going to prove everyone wrong. He was going to show out, and this just has not happened for him. So now with the new QB in place, you would expect him, of course, as we say, the young QBs go to the tight ends. But I was watching that game last week, and he was not going to the tight end. So I'm not really sure what to really say about Pitts. He's not somebody I'd start with confidence in my championship matchup. So if you got someone else that you might be looking to stream, of course, you can always ask us online or offline. We're happy to give you our response to that. But I personally would be looking at other options because, again, he's got that name credibility, but it's just not happened for him. And I just don't think it's ever gonna. All right, let's finish things up with the final one of the night, the Detroit Lions against Justin's San Francisco 49ers. Against fantasy QBs, the Detroit Lions are 20th. Against running backs, they're 4th. Against receivers, they are 29th. And against tight ends, they are number 1. San Francisco's 4th against QBs, 24th against running backs, number 1 against receivers, 3rd against tight ends. So, my friend, guys you like and don't like on the 49ers.
George Kittle and God, I want to say Juwan Jennings, but it just seems like Brock Purdy doesn't have enough time to get him the ball. This week is going to be literally makeshift line. They got 3 new linemen in. It's going to be tough. So I think it's going to be old, reliable George Kittle, and that's it. You don't want to start anybody else.
So I'm just going to piggyback, and I'm not that guy that likes to pat my own back or toot my own horn. I called it on Sunday. It was going to be a Deebo Samuel day because the Miami damn Dolphins can't freaking guard any big receivers to save their life through the years that we've had, and it was showing a bit playing out right in front of me. There's Kittle, there's Debo. It's the same thing on repeat. So I will say I do think they will get Debo a little more involved in this matchup. As you mentioned, with the line issues, you might see a little more short passes to Debo and see what he can do with it upfield. So I think Debo is a good play. I think he's at least flex-worthy in this game. You expect Detroit to put up some points. The 49ers defense is not the 49ers defense of old, at least as of late anyway. So you like Jared Goff, obviously. He's going to be one of your top 15 guys this week. You got to love Jahmyr Gibbs. And again, San Francisco, 24th. I can't believe I'm saying that right now. It's like blasphemous almost. But it not only, again, Jahmyr Gibbs, he's a great running back and he already gets points anyway. But with no Montgomery there, bro, it's just like I'd be salivating at this opportunity. So he's top 5 for me this week. The receivers are what they are. It's a bad matchup against the Niners secondary. But it's again, I keep saying this all season long. This is why I always tell people when you're doing fantasy football, don't worry about the trends and all receivers and whatever. Get your running backs. They're the most solid because these receivers, it just seems like a crapshoot. Jameson Williams 1 week. And then Amon St. Brown, who's had a very disappointing season this year. It's a tough call here. And Sam Laporta, again, it's a tough matchup for him as well. And he's also had a bit of a sophomore slump, if you will, this year. So I've been debating, we'll talk this on Sunday because I know what your pick was. And that's the one pick that I've been debating on because I really think the Niners might beat the hell out of the Lions, but I think they might win this game. I feel it. I know. But
I only do it because the last thing I want to hear is "You've got your fan card." That's the last thing I want to hear. But I know that that's not going to happen. Like
I've been debating this one because it's just the way things play out. The Lions, they are the Lions, but something's giving me this real feeling that the Niners are going to pull this out at home, especially them having to travel out to the West Coast. Something's in my head right now about that, but maybe you'll talk me out of it. We'll see.
It might be closer. But here's I want to just throw one caveat because you throw caveats into mine. I would start everybody on Detroit, and the reason being is that look at last week and look at what Dan Campbell likes to do. He likes to get everybody involved if he can. That's his whole mentality of everything. He likes to sprinkle in a little deep ball to Jameson Williams. Guess what? We don't have anybody that covers Jameson Williams. He likes to give Amon St. Brown 12 targets. He loves to do these. If there's one coach out there that loves fantasy football, it's Dan Campbell. Because he's the guy who made David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs top 12 running backs.
You ain't
Tell me I'm wrong.
You ain't wrong. You're not. That's why I was sitting there like, you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. No doubt about it. I like either one, bro. I mean, like I said, you can't go wrong, but I just feel like I don't have a lot of like Jameson Williams. To me, he'd just be more of a flex play. Same with Amon. I hate him even saying that, but just because of again almost a crapshoot situation, we're just not sure. The 49ers have been okay against fantasy receivers, so that would just be my thing. But anyway, but I'm with it. We'll see. But I love Jahmyr Gibbs and gotta love Goff, no matter who the hell he's throwing the damn ball to. So gotta like that indeed. All right, well, listen. Wishing all of you a very happy new year. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. And if you've waited this long, then we have a treat for you. Our own Andrew LeDuc is going to bring you his final sophisticated starts of the week and wish you a happy new year as well. So let's check it out. Sophistication Station before we close it out.
Slightly overweight guy in a brand new coat. That's me. Christmas time, baby. Beautiful here. Let's talk about some other things that fit perfectly into your lineups this week with some sophisticated starts, because this is Sophistication Station, and that was a sophisticated car. Let's kick it off with a QB. Baker Mayfield. Great matchup this week. He's going to throw it all over the place. He's on fire. He's going to get you probably 20-plus points. Get Baker Mayfield in your lineup and get yourself a championship. Because right there with him to do all the work will be Bucky Irving, who is just killing it on the ground. He's catching passes. They're going to continue to use him. Rashard White has kind of slowly fallen off the cliff. Not completely, but it's Bucky Irving's show now. So get Bucky Irving in there and get Baker Mayfield in there. And then last but not least, one more sophisticated start for you. James Cook has been a powerhouse for the Bills right now. He's catching passes. He's running the ball. I know it's a tougher matchup against the Jets, but let's be real. What the hell do the Jets have to play for? So James Cook, Buffalo Bills, to the moon. Let's go. Stay classy, my friends. And once again, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. It's coming. See you then.
Happy New Year, TSS family. We appreciate you sticking with us all season long. This will be our final Friday night breakdown, but you can always check us out on Sunday as well. We're going to move the Sunday show after this week to Saturday as the playoffs go because we know how that's starting to get crazy. But check us out, of course, on Sunday. We'll be doing a Happy New Year Wake Up TSS Fantasy. Obviously, we'll be doing our picks, give you some great plays. For some betting, for some bets and stuff like that. Sorry, I was getting a message and not throwing me off. So we'll be going over injuries, and we got ultimate DFS lineups for you as well. That'll be Sunday, 8 a.m. Don't forget to check us out then. And then, of course, we'll be moving that to Saturdays when the playoffs get here. So we'll be with you at least all the way up into, and we'll have our big Super Bowl special per the usual. So we appreciate all of you. Again, Happy New Year to you and yours. It's been a great season. I know Fred and Andrew LeDuc and Greg and Brian will concur when we say we all appreciate all of you for tuning in with us. It's been a great year this year. We've had a lot of fun, especially with you guys' interaction. So thank you again. Justin, any parting words for our Friday night, final Friday night?
Go start the new year off right. Go win a championship.
That's how you do it, indeed. And, don't talk about you going to the gym because we know it ain't happening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you. And for 2024, we are out.